then okay, everybody, we're recording this and going to send it out to the region. I think we've got about 64 clubs this year, a bunch, and we're going to start some sessions once a month. What I failed to do, my mistake was I figured out a lot of you are doing tryouts right now, so we've got a small attendance, but we're going to go ahead and record it and send it out. Hopefully you'll pick up some ideas. I've got two Corys tonight. Corey Helly from the STARS organization in the upstate is going to share. They're the largest club in in South Carolina. So I wanted him to share a few ideas. And then Corey, how do you pronounce your last name?
Betulia.
Betulia. Okay. She's fairly new to South Carolina, down in the Augusta area, but she comes with a lot of credentials, running one of the top clubs in the nation, and she'll talk to us second, and then I'm going to throw out an idea for you. Also, it's concerning club growth tonight. So with that said, Corey Helly, you're on.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, and I won't take too long tonight, but I will tell you that when it comes to growing a club, and I've been in the club scene in South Carolina since 1995, I think even though I'm not going to take a long time tonight, I think that's one of the keys. It's just you've got to be invested and you got to be committed to do it for a while. There's no easy way to grow a club. You've got to, in my opinion, you've got to do a few things. And first and foremost, you have to really build a base with the very youngest players in your area. I think too often people come in and they want to start a club or build a club, but really the only interest they have is the top 16s and 17s players in the area. And that just, I've almost been here 30 years, and that just really, in my experience, hasn't really worked out for those people. If you're going to really want to grow a club, in my opinion, looking at the clubs in our state and surrounding areas, you've got to start with the youngest players, and you got to have a really healthy youth program, like an academy program, that is a priority for you. You got to have someone really good running it. So I think starting with the younger players and not going after the best high school players in your area is a really good way to start. And then, when you're going after the younger, when you're trying to build the younger players, you really need to get in the schools. So, hand in hand with starting a youth program is getting to know the middle school coaches and the high school coaches. And Jimmy, I remember, 30 years ago, you would go into schools and run their PE classes for them to introduce the PE teachers and the coaches. And at that time, a lot of the girls, let alone the boys, but 30 years ago, you were introducing the girls to volleyball in the state of South Carolina. So I feel like you have to develop really strong relationships with the school coaches in your area, and especially the middle schools. And if you can get into the PE classes, that has been something that literally for the last 30 years we have done. And we've always seen huge rewards from developing those relationships. A very practical thing, if you have some gym space, is you can just host a variety of small little tournaments, 4v4 tournaments, any age, all ages, all times of the night. There's a club starting here in the upstate that's hosting multiple tournaments a week in the summer. My daughter was playing in a tournament last night that ended at midnight. So just getting people through the door with little tournaments would also be a great thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is time. I mentioned my daughter was playing in a tournament last night, and one of the guys who's starting this club was kind of talking to my daughter about me, because we know them obviously, and he's talking to my daughter about me, and she was trying to explain, I think, Jimmy, the Club South to upward transition and, like, my experience, and this guy said, "Oh, so it was like 0 to 100 for your dad." And I just kind of laughed when Abby told me that, because it's been anything but 0 to 100. It's been 0 to 5 miles per hour, 5 miles per hour to 9 miles per hour, 9 to 12. There's all these little steps along the way that people just kind of either don't want to do, forget that they have to do those things, stop doing those things. And all those little steps along the way are important to growing a club.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it. And if any of you clubs that are watching this later have questions, I'm sure you can reach out to Corey and he'll be glad to assist you.
Yep.
Okay. Corey in Augusta, you want to introduce yourself and just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name is Corey Batulia. I operate Drive Nation Volleyball out of Dallas, Texas. We're a part of the North Texas region, and our clubs compete really with the top clubs in the area, like TAV, and in the country. And I'm out here in Augusta now, and so I still operate that club remotely. We have individuals that run that club. But the past year, I've done that club remotely, and I will tell you from what Corey Hell just said, is that you're going to hear a lot of repetition in what we think is going to be suitable for club growth. I won't go into too many things since he already touched base on them, but getting into the middle schools and high schools is so important. Making sure that you meet those coaches, that you socialize with them, your high school players. If you have any girls that are playing in high school, hopefully that's the case. You go to their school, you watch their game, you socialize with the parents that are there, you get them involved. At their signing days for college, you start doing these little things that show that you're invested and interested in, and you want to create this community. One of the other things that Corey already touched base on was, we call it in Texas a club prep program. And so that's your ages 7 through 13, where you're getting them in 2 times a week at a very low cost. And it's to introduce them to the game. Then they see the girls, they're having the girls do practice, right? Club practice. So they're like, oh, I want to be like those girls. And, they keep coming and they keep practicing. And your people are, funneling them to the tryout. And then one of the other things that I think is huge, and I do this in any part of the sports industry that I've ever been a part of, has been operations. One way to sustain your club and be able to set it up with a great foundation for growth is for you to communicate and have efficiency in operations. I cannot tell you how many times I've had parents say, I've stayed at this club just because you communicate, because you tell me what's going on, because you send me schedules, because I don't have to reach out to you, you reach out to me, because you're thinking of the uniform package. You're trying to spread club dues across X amount of months so that it's not a huge payment every single month. You're doing all of these things. We have a team parent chat. So I don't know what platform, I'm sure everybody uses something different, but we use Team Snap. And so not only do we have our team chats, but we also have a team parent chat. And so all the team parents are giving everybody resources on how to make this the best club experience possible. And from my experience, that building that community, and in Texas, it's word of mouth. So if you're doing a great job, people are going to hear about it. And if you're doing a bad job, people are going to hear about it. And that will definitely impact who decides to stay with your club. You'll have coaches come and go. Some coaches that are great, some coaches that'll take girls with them to different clubs. It's all going to be in, can your club sustain operations? Can they sustain communication? And so that for me is a really big piece for our club.
Thank you very much. It's amazing. I did not talk to the 2 Coreys about subject matter or what to present, but all 3 of us have almost very similar messages. I've been in it maybe 30 plus years. Telling my age now. Older than Corey, anyway. And so I want to carry you through just a quick PowerPoint, and mine will be short also, but hopefully you guys can get the idea of what to do to be successful and grow your club. Obvious goals related around coaching, which both Corey said, is quality coaches is very important, if not required. I would warn you against hiring parents that know a little bit and think they can coach. Get quality coaches. Get quality middle school and high school coaches, because along with getting their coaches, you get typically their players. And then utilize local college players, even contact the colleges and get their past players and where they are. If there is possibility, they're still local and you can get them to come in. I know there's always problems with coaching. The region is trying to do some things this year to pick up some coaching or coaches so we can share it with clubs around the state. Keys for success is growth should be based, again, on quality coaching, reliable facilities. Excuse me, guys, I'm going to skip out just a second and put this person in. Hang on a minute, and then I'll jump back in. And here we go. Hey, Julie, you just missed the part of it. So, all right. So, as I was saying, should be quality coaching, reliable facilities. What I mean for that is get facilities that they're not going to call you in the last hour and say, oh, you can't come to practice. You can't practice tonight because we've got X, Y, or Z. So get facilities, you've got pretty stable times, if not your own facility. As Corey, the last speaker, mentioned, the administration is critical. It's funny that we both talked about the same thing: communicate, communicate, communicate. That's what parents want to know and hear. I put in playing time. What I try to tell club directors is this isn't college. You're not paying them. They are paying you, and they want playing time. I know it gets difficult when it gets into a top open team or something like that, but remember, just try to put yourself in the parent's shoes. Don't put players on a team if you know they're going to just sit the bench in order to make the money work. Tryouts, summer versus fall. We spoke a little bit about that before the meeting started. The only reason I bring up summer is you get a lot of stuff done, but you also can extend payments, which helps parents. But there's pros and cons to both of those, and you have to make your decision what's best for your club. When I ran a club eons ago with Corey Helly, we had parent team reps on every team, and they'd get half of their fees as a discount, but they were our communication tool. Back then, we didn't have quite the technology we have today, but that gives them some discounts and also gets you some help inside the club for administration. Now, my one idea for big growth is basically an untapped market. It's little to no competition. It's high coaching availability, higher profit margin, high retention, and very few complaints. And I think we all know what this is: beginners. Ideally, when we came up with this idea with Club South, and I don't know, Corey Helly, was it been 25 years ago? Maybe more.
At least.
Yeah. I targeted elementary schools and typically 4th through 6th grade. We had, by the time we ended and I sold the club, we had quite a bit of 1st through 3rd graders, but it's difficult for 1st through 3rd graders to have a consistent game in volleyball. You've got your coaches where we pick the best players with great personalities. Typically a 1 to 4 or 5 ratio, where so they're getting a lot of personal attention. So we back then, I think we were playing the players $8 or $10 an hour, and they loved it, had a great time. You want groups or teams, whatever you want to call it, of 8 to 10, so that you have small groups and they get a lot of attention, a lot of repetition. What's key to this is have a master coach, somebody who can teach on their level. That's critical. I've seen a lot of great, even college coaches and great high school coaches, but they can't communicate to a 4th through 6th grader to their level. You gotta make it fun and funny and stuff like that while teaching at the same time. It can be done. Corey and I started Club South eons ago. After we started a kids power program. First year, I go back and looked at this. We had 17 players. Year two, 41 players. Year three, 72 players. 4, 98 players. And in year five, 121 players. And when I, last year before we sold, it was 21 teams at 232 players under sixth grade. And that is phenomenal. And we were able to do it. You get more players on a court because you make 2 or 3 nets per court, even sometimes 4. So where you got to go to the elementary schools and offer to do clinics during their PE time. You got to make it fun. You got to have fun games. And I went to, I can't remember the little, it's a company online, Oriental Trading. That's it. And I bought, $50 worth of 150 prizes, and they loved it. If they did something good, got a serve over, made some passing, whatever it is, they'd always go to the prize table and get a little prize. Loved it. You got to be creative in what you do and get more touches per person. And that's, of course, done in the older ages too. If you go into the elementary schools, whoever goes has got to be good. And again, on their level, you got to have fun games. Like at the end, we would blow up a 3-foot volleyball, the beach volleyball, and they'd play that and just loved it. And then we'd have a little 5 minutes of, here's a brochure, take it home to your parents and talk to them about coming and trying out. The details has got to be an affordable price, low. Get them in and get them attracted and get them hooked, and then they'll move on up into the program. And I would say we had a huge number that we retained because we started them young and they went all the way up through our program. We also did a try us first, like the first 3 practices were free. Try it and see if they like it. And it's worth it because we probably 85, 90% of them stayed. And it attracts them to come in. And once the player loves it, you've got them. It's got to be organized and efficient. I can't express enough about fun while you're teaching the fundamentals. Got to be that. Games in it, stuff like that. When I say no outfield players, I mean, you know what baseball or softball practice is. They're in the outfield and they're out there picking flowers and grass while they get a ball every 15 minutes. It's got to be a lot of touches, a lot of movement, a lot of activity. You teach for success. In other words, like in our kids, we would have them come up to the 10-foot line to try to do serves, just get the ball over the net. They'll learn as they go older. And then you have an in-house or limited travel option, like the region has Kid Power programs. It's a half a day, and we bring in teams and they practice. They play on a kind of a limited travel plan, or just do like Corey just talked about, and both Corey's is do something in-house, keep your practice down. A couple of other things, 1 hour, 2 times a week. So all you want to do is get them hooked. And we did it before a practice. So we had our player coaches come in, work with them, and then they'd go to practice. And I say if soccer can do it, volleyball can do the same thing, is you could do outdoor practice courts. You could do it. Soccer does it. Kids go to soccer and do it. Volleyball can do it also. So that would lower your cost to also get interest during the months that would work. I've already mentioned Kids Power tournaments. Small courts, you want to make a minimum of 2 or 3 nets per net that you've got access to, so that you're getting more touches and more movement around a court. And that's it. We got done in 30 minutes. I appreciate everybody that is on. And like I said, we had tons of people writing in and say, hey, record it and send it out. So hopefully everybody will get this. I do want to do some best practice sessions once a month, and you'll see those coming up. Corey Haley, thank you. Corey from Augusta, thank you for coming. Welcome to South Carolina. We certainly want to get you involved. Got a great resume. And for those that are online, Julie, Bill, Katie, thank you. And we'll talk soon. Corey, I'll see you Wednesday.
Yep. Thanks, y'all.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.